Hey everybody. I did not say that I was going to go live today, but I just kind of wanted to just kind of talk to you guys, give you guys a little bit of an update about what's going on, and just say hi. It's I really have loved creating content, and it's been such a blessing, and it's been a lot of fun. I also think it's been really good too. Just having something else to do because, of course, during oh, good morning. Hi, Uppity. Good morning, Carolyn. It's just been good having another outlet too, because I think like being in healthcare during this time, it was so stressful. It was really, really um, mentally and spiritually really draining. And to be honest, everything that I've gone through, I don't think I've ever remembered being this like overwhelmed career wise since being active duty, since the war, since Ramadi, or since hi Donji, hi Rocky, good morning, hi Corey, hey Mother Earth. But yeah, I don't think I've been this overwhelmed really since Ramadi, Iraq, as far as being in like emergency room medicine during this time. And just especially because you just really don't have control over what is because there's so little knowledge about how to treat this condition. Yeah, so I remember feeling really overwhelmed by it, and this channel really kind of helped me like mentally like focus on something else, and also kind of dealing with the fact that we're sort of becoming like empty nesters. Good morning, goddess. Yeah, like the fact that we're becoming empty nesters. Our kids are so much more independent now. Like even the youngest one is like learning to drive. She's learning to drive. And like, wow, like I'm not saying that I don't feel needed, because I know that they need, but just in a different way. And they're so much more independent now. And I'm proud of them. Trust me, I'm proud of them. But at the same time, it's like, what do I do with all this extra time? That time that I spent putting into caring for them and raising them and driving them places and taking them to practices and lessons, and they're doing it for themselves. Hi, Love Mangoes. Good morning. Even now, I'm looking at my oldest daughter. Typically, they would not hire people under 18 in some of the places in the place that she's working now. Typically, they didn't hire teenagers, people under 18. Sometimes not even under 21. But just because of the situation that we're in, a lot of teenagers are getting a crack at it. And this is like a restaurant that the wait staff is salary, but yet and still people are still tipping, right? They don't say no tips. They're still, so she's earning great money and she's still getting tips, yeah, that's a good idea to have some time to travel. Yeah, absolutely. I should, I definitely should be doing like more for myself. And I know I've definitely been like doing more like self-care, but at the same time, it's kind of like a little bit of like an evaluation of where I'm gonna be going, and what we both of us want to do. Because if you really think about it, my spouse too has spent a lot of time. He was doing he had a sales job with his IT company. And then when they switched over, he went back onto the technical side. And then now he's in management because he didn't like to travel and be away from the kids. And he really, really loved coaching Little League all the way through. And I have good morning to Atkins Bar. And Carolyn, you're right. I should travel. And Uppity, you're right. If they need you less, you did a good job. Wow. Wow. I never thought of it that way. I never thought of it that way. I mean, I was just watching the ceremony for the Olympics, and, there was so many of them like, thank you, mom, thank you, mom, thank you, mom. And I'm like, wow, that must be incredible to see your child perform at that a higher level. And yeah, you're right. They do. And I know my oldest one is not going to go off to college because of just what she wants to do in life. I'm like, sweetie, I love you so much, but unfortunately, like, art doesn't pay. So you're going to have to stay home and commute because that would be worth it for you financially. So, but now she's talking about like, hey, this food service management, you can have a lot of time to be a creative, and then still take on these weekend shifts and make some really great money. And I'm grateful that she's discovering that. I'm also really grateful too that shout out to content creator Real Deal Financial, who talked about these penny stocks that you can do, or you can like invest your tips, like if you're, in the food service industry, and then end up making some money off of this. You know what I mean? Like, wow, that's such a smart idea. Shout out to him and his channel. But also too, the kids we've sponsored in the past, they're now moving on. And so, yes, of course, I think I will always go and sponsor like a family who is in need and whose kid wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity to play. I will definitely always do that because I think, sports was important to me growing up. Sports was incredible for my husband growing up. So, hi, Camwee. So I definitely know that we're sponsoring a girl right now who's 12, her and her brother. We're sponsoring them both through Little League this year. But at the same time, my husband's like, oh, what do I spend my time doing now that I'm not kind of coaching? Because, my youngest daughter is now on the varsity team. My oldest daughter is not playing anymore. She just decided it wasn't for her. My youngest daughter is incredibly talented. Like her talent is and her work ethic. This last tournament, I can't tell you how impressed I was by her. To be as young as she is, to be as small as she is compared to the other athletes. Her talent is unbelievable. I remember a few years ago when we went to Minute Maid and she met Jose Altuve, who's on the smaller side, an infielder who's on the smaller side. That's true, Uppity. Girls in sports. I remember that, and when I was at Howard, they were really encouraging us as student athletes to go work with high school athletes because of the teen pregnancy had gotten out of control in the 90s at that time. So Uppity, I'm going to put that comment up here because she's right. She's very right. That's very right. So one of the reasons, me having run track and cross country, I would volunteer at some of the schools and do like running clinics and things like that, because teen pregnancy was was crazy in the early 90s. And then they would say it would help because it would give them something to do. And I kind of noticed that too over this tournament, because this tournament was huge. It was at a huge sports complex in a different state. And this tournament my daughter competed in, and it was amazing. My oldest daughter went with us because she knew she wasn't going to be able to come with us on vacation. And it was funny because you would see, so my daughter's team, my youngest daughter's team, they're in the winner's bracket. So they're still on the field right now. And then all of a sudden you start seeing like the boys mosey on over from their side. And, hold on 1 second. Okay, hey there. But yeah, I mean, it was just, these boys come mosey on over, right? This was the funniest thing, because my youngest daughter, my oldest daughter is like very creative, and she has like very creative like insults. She's real sick in the mouth, right? So these boys are coming on over to the girls' side to watch the girls, and they're like funny enough, they're rating the girls from 1 to 10 on who's the prettiest or whatever. These are the winners bracket girls, okay? So these boys are over here, and then my oldest daughter goes over to him and was like, oh, so what team do you play for? And they're like, oh, this team, and they're talking about their jerseys, and they're looking all, and then she's like, oh, are you on this particular app? I forget what it's called. It's a Game Changer or something like that. So one of those apps that keep track of your stats, right? So in case you want to market yourself to colleges and all this stuff. And then my daughter's like, wow, is that your ERA or your GPA? Because those are not good numbers, Like, Dad, your batting average needs work. Like, and here you rating these girls from 1 to 10. And it was so funny, like, because here she's being real slick in the mouth. Like, you might want to be, you might want to get in that batting cage before you start rating people, because look, your batting average is sad, So, and it was really funny. So then when my youngest daughter gets off the field, my oldest daughter tells her like what the boys in the stands were saying. And my youngest daughter said something, and she said, it's always the bottom bracket boys who have the most to say. And I'm like, wow. She says, it's always the bottom bracket boys. Because she said, because if they were in the top bracket, they wouldn't be over here because they would still be playing. And that just like blew my mind. Like that she already knew that this is nothing to feel insecure about. This is nothing. You're in the winner's bracket and you're still on the field. And these dudes over here are like judging you on how you like, what? Because the reality was the winner's bracket boys were still playing. So if you're sitting in the stands, that meant you were eliminated. You know what I mean? And my daughter was like, it's always the bottom bracket boys. It's always the bottom bracket boys. And, they do try to do things like this and pit these teams against each other. But you got to realize that these girls have been together. Some of them are 6, 7, 8. Some of these girls were were in T-ball together. They're not very easily divided, especially by some bottom bracket boys. Maybe to some lower ranked team, maybe they could have worked, that tactic could have worked. And it's just so funny how these boys, here they are 15 and 16, and then you watch YouTube and these guys in their 50s are doing the same thing. The same thing as these bottom bracket boys. You know what I mean? These bottom bracket. And then, and they try to make these excuses like, oh, well, really, football is my sport. I just do baseball on the side. And she goes, yeah, well, you know what? You probably need to stick to football then because this is not impressive, especially for you to be evaluating the winner's bracket girls, and it just goes to show you. But eventually, because we did get so far, we did see a couple of the top bracket guys because we were the team that everybody was kind of gunning for. And we did get out of the tournament a little early because, we were the team that people were gunning for. We weren't from that area. We're not from where this was. And people were kind of rooting for the local team, because technically, okay, so when you go west and do these tournaments out west, everybody's afraid of Texas. But when you go east, everybody's afraid of Florida as far as softball is concerned. So yeah, it was just crazy. Like everybody was kind of, the stands start getting packed because everybody's really rooting for the local team because we were kind of we eliminated a lot of the teams in that region. But my my daughter was funny. My youngest daughter, love her. Things kind of she's typically a shortstop, okay, which is like the spot between like second and third base, or sometimes first and second base, like, depending on where they want to put you in the shift. So she's usually an infielder, but they had her play outfield because, again, the heat was getting people. There was a couple of injuries, and we just were kind of rotating things around. So because her dad was an outfielder, actually, her dad played right field most of his career. Either right or center most of his career. So I taught T-ball. Yeah, T-ball. Parents can be tough. I respect you, Corey, because parents the parents are tough. But it's like she goes out in right field and she catches this foul ball, and it looked like something that could have been on Sports Center. You know, everybody in the crowd went da 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 da. Like, it was really funny because it was a crazy catch. I mean, the grass stains, I think that's the end of those softball pants, because the grass stains are not going to come out. Like, I just had to surrender to that. Like, the grass stains are not coming out of that as a result of that. But there was some little boy who like came over her and was like, "Oh my gosh, I saw you play, blah, 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 blah." Oh, excuse me. But yeah, and I was like, okay, so he's a winner's bracket boy now. He's impressed by how you play right field. Here she is with grass stains, hair all over her head. So apparently her and the little boy been texting, whatever. I'm like, well, at least he's in the winner's bracket. And of course, my oldest daughter, she's like, I'm going to look him up. You know, she's really good with that. She find out all your business. Don't get on her bad side, because she will dox you. My oldest daughter, shoot. She will find your GPA, your ERA, your batting average. You know what I mean? What your ex-girlfriend said about you from middle school. She is something else. I mean, I'm grateful that she loves me, because if she didn't, I know my business would be in the street. I know it. Like, she can. I think sometimes y'all Gen Z girls, like, y'all will know a guy's whole business before just the way you guys work the internet and social media. Like, man, like she's like, you know, she was telling that to the girls. Like, she was saying, like, no, his batting average is trash. Don't talk to him. Like, she's ruthless with hers. She is ruthless with hers. Like, his batting average is trash. His grades are trash. Don't talk to him. Oh my gosh. And I saw that thing on Crystalline Karazin's community tab about that lady who cheated on the Zorilla, the guy from Chicago Cubs, who was like the MVP for when they won the World Series. You gonna cheat on a guy like that? You gonna cheat on a guy with 780 career RBIs? You must have no values. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I don't know. I think that's attractive. Like, because I think it shows a lot about his character. Personally, like, especially too, growing up, my crush was like Ken Griffey Jr. I don't know if anybody knows who he is, but yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. was like my crush growing up. I kind of remember baseball was like, my dad was very strict, right? And he didn't let us stay up late a lot. And but he would let us stay up late when the Mets were in the World Series in '86. And then he would let us, and then of course, you know, when Ken Griffey came on the scene, he was so young and he had this great smile, and he was like, oh man, I loved Griffey. But he played in Seattle. So he was like, of course, like on the West Coast, and I'm from New York. So clearly, like, I couldn't watch him without staying up late because his games would be on late. But I just remember like loving Griffey growing up. And I'll show you guys a picture of him. Hold on. So if you guys kind of know what he looks like. Hold on. So hold on. Can you guys see it? Hold on. Yeah, that's him. That's Ken Griffey Jr. Loved Ken Griffey Jr., right? Growing up. I loved his smile. I loved how well he hit in Safeco. There's people who have like issues with him. And kind of like after like the baseball strike, he was kind of the guy who brought the sport back. And my husband was saying that that's when he played. He played after the strike. And believe it or not, there was not a lot of money in the sport then. He was saying kind of after the baseball strike, there were only very few players who were making really good money. That would have been like, you know, the Ken Griffeys, the Mark McGuires, the Jose Cansecos. They were making like really good money. But then the rest of the roster would just be full of guys from like Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, who would make like $150,000 over 2 years, or like $200,000 4-year contracts. Like, so it wasn't like a ton of money in the sport then. But everybody's eyes were on Junior. And the reality was his dad and him actually played at the same time. Him and his dad are only 20 years apart. So his dad was center field. Ken Griffey was right field for Seattle. And everybody was saying, like, what was the secret? Everybody asked Ken Griffey Sr., what was the secret to a Ken Griffey Jr.? Right? How did you create that? Right? And he said his secret was Valerie Griffey, Ken Griffey Jr.'s mother, his wife. Because with him playing over 160 games per season, the wife was the one who got into Little League. The wife was the one who got him through school. The wife was, so yes, you know, he did work with his son. Yes, he gave him talent, but it was his mother who really he credits to a lot of Ken Griffey's success, because Ken Griffey actually ended up making the Hall of Fame. He was an incredible player. So he actually superseded his father. And the father really said it's because of Valerie Griffey, his mother. So you have a whole generation of these young men who want to repeat that, right? Who are coming through. So a lot of baseball players at that time were looking. Oh, and also you got to remember the Molinas were coming up around this time too. That's like Jose Molina, Benji Molina, Yadier Molina. And they were in Puerto Rico. So this was basically like Puerto Rico's golden boy. So actually Jose Molina's 3 sons are the only brothers in the Major League Baseball who have won. All 3 of his sons have won World Series. So yeah, my husband actually played with Benji in Puerto Rico, the middle one. So Yadier is still playing, and it's likely that he may make the Hall of Fame. So a lot of these guys at that time were looking for Valerie Griffey's. All of them were looking for like the Valerie Griffey. So while some guys in the 90s were looking for Corinne Steffens, this other group of guys are looking for Valerie Griffey's, and they're trying to create this legacy, like this baseball legacy, kind of the way Jose Molina was creating a legacy, the way Ken Griffey Jr. was creating a legacy. And there's a running joke between me and my husband. And the joke was that when he first signed his contract, his agent was like, so is there any actress or model that you're interested in? You know, I know all these great guys who I know all these great girls that I can introduce you to, and blah, 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 blah. You know, I'm very well connected. And you know who he said that he wanted to meet? Lisa Leslie. I was like, really? He said Marion Jones or Lisa Leslie. Like that was like his like crush back then. Like Marion Jones and Lisa Leslie. I was like, wow, you shoot high. But he says, yeah, they looked like they would be like really good mothers of scholar athletes. You know what I'm saying? Like I agree with you, Uppity. It should be called Ken Griffey Jr. way, right? Because A-Rod, great player, but he never took them to a World Series. I mean, if you want to put an A-Rod way, put it in New York, right? Or maybe team in Texas. But yeah, I definitely think Ken Griffey should have streets named after him near Safeco, for sure. Hey, Happiness Without Guilt, how you doing? So he was trying to create like the next, you know, and it's like, even if you look at baseball right now, right, and you see like who the guys who are running the league, basically, it would be, of course, Fernando Tatis Jr., right, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and up until his injury, Ronald Acuna Jr., right? Because guys were out looking for their Valerie Griffeys. And that's my whole thing. Like, you know, not everybody is looking for a trophy wife. Some people are trying to make a power couple, you know? And it's like, yeah, Marion, yeah, that's his taste. That's what he would have, that would be like his ideal. Like, you know, and I think like a lot of these femininity content creators or level up content creators are trying to make you think like, well, guys only like this in women, or guys only like that in women. No, there are guys out there who are looking for Valerie Griffeys and Marion Jones and Lisa Leslie's, you know, because they have a bigger objective in mind. You know, they're looking for somebody who would be that awesome little league mom, or somebody who can start that business with them, and somebody who can, really take their that last name to the next level. And when I think about like my daughter's softball team, a lot of these guys are quote unquote high value men, right? Quote unquote. I hate using that word, but a lot of these guys are business owners. They're IT executives, and almost all of them played NCAA one. Some of them were in Major League Baseball. Like I'm meeting with a woman right now whose husband played for the Pittsburgh Pirates because they're interested in coming to our school. So he was retired, mixing. Okay. Wow. That's really good. Thanks, Love Mangoes, for adding that story. But yeah, I mean, it was funny, but because it's like, to say that certain men are looking for certain things, like men look for all kinds of things in women. So you never really know for sure. And that's kind of why, like, I really do like appreciate how more well-rounded we need to be in like Black female YouTube. Like we really do, because not every guy wants the same thing, And I was saying that last night, like, hey, when I put up my, oh, hold on one second. Everybody wants to call me today. Like any other time, this phone don't ring. Oh my, and it's not even a telemarketer. But anyway, like you can't say, there's no really definitive answer as to what somebody wants in a partner. So really it's just about being the best version of yourself. But a lot of these girls on the team, and even watching the Olympics, right? Almost all of these people who are on the gymnastics teams, like, yeah, both of my parents were gymnasts, both of my parents were runners, both of my parents were athletes. So a lot of these ladies, like our pitcher, she's almost 6 feet tall. She's like 17 years old. But yes, you know what I mean? Some of us are like, and her mom was like a NCAA volleyball player, and her dad ended up playing Major League Baseball. And he wanted a wife who was an athlete. He wanted a tall, athletic wife. Where other people are saying like, oh, you have to be super feminine. No, he liked the fact that she was not afraid to sweat. There are some guys who like a girl who, that, you know what? That's a good point, Uppity. Uppity made a really good point. Men who need a strong support. That's true. There are men who like women who are creative. There are men who like women who are, like I was telling a story about my daughter and the little boy. Okay, Gen Xers, help me. Why don't you guys iron your clothes? Help me out with that one. Help me to figure that out. Like, what did fabric softener do to you guys? Where you guys walk around wrinkled? Oh my gosh. Okay. Thanks, Happiness. That's a good one. Muay Thai. From what I understand, that's the most deadly form of martial arts. And you have to be very disciplined. You know what? I can see why you would find that attractive, because you have to be extremely disciplined to do that sport, to do Muay Thai. I can see that. Like you would, because you know that you could potentially hurt someone, but you don't. So you have to have like a lot of restraint. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm really glad you said that. I'm really glad you put that comment there. Because I could see why that would be attractive. I could totally see that. Yeah. 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 I could see that too. I definitely know that. I definitely know that that's true. That there are men who will propose to women who are tall or who are really good athletes because they're athletes and they want their kids to be good athletes. Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see that. Um, yeah, I could see that. My mom never taught me the ins and outs of homemaking and taking care of clothes. That's why I'm working on learning. Good for you, the Atkins bar. You were such a great contributor to a lot of these Black women centered spaces. I would support you in creating your own content because I think you're very smart and you always have a lot to add. And I would definitely support you in that because I think that you really could. I mean, even if you didn't make content about like quote unquote divestment or whatever this side of the algorithm is, I think you have a lot to add. You're a really smart, really intelligent person. Yeah. Hold on, I'm going to put that comment up again. That love me. I keep telling young girls to bootleg, level up content creators, men like these types. Yeah. You know what I mean? Plus, yes, that's another thing. What was this whole thing about like men don't like plus size women? Like, I don't know, some plus size women, they be getting it. Like, especially the part of the country we were in, you know, some of these big girls, you know, hey, that some guys really are into that. So to say, you know, even though you know, I wouldn't, you know, I would want people to be healthy for sure, but yeah, there are definitely some guys who are into that for sure. I think you guys have making a lot of good points. You guys are really smart. Yeah, at the Atkins bar, see, we would support you in that, in creating content, whatever it is you do. Look better, bigger than when. Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. I know that I saw that video you did about the woman who had gained 100 pounds, and she was beautiful at both sizes. Definitely. So yeah. Hi, Ed George Coco. Good morning. But yeah, I mean, I just think say that we shouldn't say that there's any absolutes in life, but at the same time, you can still have standards just because there's no absolutes. And you know, it was real funny. You know, shout out to Jamie, AMBW channel. You know, I like the fact that he has all kinds of Black women. He'll interview them for the channel, and you know, in all different stages. I like the Black woman with the guy who was Hmong, and they had like 6 kids, and the kids were making noise and knocking over the computer, and I'm like, man, we've all been there. We've been there, you know, having small children and trying to telecommute and communicate. Oh yeah, I mean, I thought that was really relatable. I thought that some of the interviews he did with some of the women who are teaching overseas, I loved how he'll have people like Lady V, who is so soft and quiet, and then people like me who's not. I like that. I like that he does like so many different, yeah, there's so many different types of women that he'll interview on his channel. And I think that Black women could use that type of promotion. Even if I don't agree with all of him and his contributors, I like his channel for that reason. You know, I like his channel for that reason. I like his channel that he, you know, I like the channel that he's just has this whole microcosm of Black women. Some of them who are moms, some of them who are not, some of them who are, and then Asian men, right? That, you know, the people who are quote unquote least desired. That's what I like about his channel. So, you know, the whole little thing with me and V Savon, whatever, it's not really beef because I don't know this guy and he doesn't know me. But at the same time, I loved the fact that he would just do that on his channel, show like just a different cross section of people. Another really good content creator, Lizzie Rance, has been really killing it the past couple days. You know, I've been catching up with her content, and she was talking about how she had taken a break from dating. And that's something I was like, that's the crazy thing. That's crazy. I would never do anything like that. I remember like being dating a guy and breaking up with him on a Monday because purposefully I wanted to be out by Friday. Like, I'm going to just give myself a certain amount of time to be to wallow in this. But yeah, And I think sometimes some women do it to their detriment, but I'm grateful that she shared her story. Lady V, that's another one that I really like. I'll make sure I put their channels in the description box when this live goes up. She's been making really good content too, but I just always feel that you should be out dating and meeting people, even when you're not completely where you need to be, because you have to realize that you're never going to be that way. You're never going to be perfectly thin. You're never going to be perfectly well balanced. You're never going to be perfect. So you might as well just get out there, because you never know who might support you in that journey. In my opinion, I feel like dysfunctional Debbie is winning the dating game. Like, I feel like the most dysfunctional women are out there dating and dating well because they're out. They have they don't have any like risk averse behavior. So they are like, well, whatever. Like, I have a girlfriend right now who's on her like second divorce. She is definitely not health conscious. You know what I mean? She gets super they call it white girl wasted. I don't know really what that means, but anyway, that's what she does. Listen, the ink on her second divorce is not even dry yet. And she's got 3 kids and she's out there winning it. And then you'll have like Black women who are beautiful, who are well balanced, and who at least are trying to be better. You know what I mean? They're like, no, I think I need to work on myself and my shadow work. Girl, dysfunctional Debbie is out there in the high-end sports bars with SpongeBob pajama pants, no bra, and a messed up, raggedy t-shirt. Like, and pulling dudes. I mean, when I watched the Home Run Derby, right? There was some raggedy women in there getting their drinks bought. And it was because there were only a few women in the bar that were single. Like, I'm telling you, like, I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know what that is. But yeah, I guess they love to save nutty. I mean, but I was just saying that. I'm like, there are some just dysfunctional women out there. I mean, I remember there was this like wine bar, right? It's a really nice restaurant and wine bar. And we try to support the local businesses, you know, because after everything that's happening, and it's a pretty nice restaurant and wine bar that's here in the area. And, you know, this lady was there talking loud about like her Prozac prescriptions and all this craziness, like just, you know, I mean, just crazy stuff at this really nice restaurant, loud too. And I'm thinking, should you be drinking if you are on those psych meds? Should you be drinking? But anyway, she's at this wine bar getting dinner bought for her. Turns out that she met she don't even know this guy. They met online. And the whole wine bar knew. The whole wine bar, it's like wine bar with like charcuterie trays, whatever. Everybody knew that they had just met. And she was just giving all of her business out there. And I'm like, I was like, I bet you that guy's going to call her again. Like, I will put money on the fact that that dude calls her back. Just probably because when it comes to online dating, the ratio doesn't really favor the man. And the fact that she got back to him, he'll probably take her out again. I'll put money on that. I'm sitting here drinking water. But yeah, I'll put money on the fact that he'll call her again. And there are Black women who, hi, Sun Queen Ari. I bet you there are Black women. Okay. All right. This is from a man. He says he appreciated it because it's full disclosure. Okay. All right. Happiness without guilt. I see. Okay. I see your point. Right. But I'm serious. There are some crazy women out there who are dressed any kind of way, who are out here on the dating market. And there are like functional Black women who are beautiful, who are put together, who might have just a couple of little flaws that they're working on. At least they acknowledge and work on it, and they sit on the sidelines. Like, girl, I would put that out there. I would, you know what I mean? Like, I would be out. Like, I remember that situation when it came to this guy I was dating. He claimed that he had the same faith background. He claimed that Thank you very much for that compliment, Sun Queen Ari. But like he claimed like that he had my same, and he was like very duplicitous, right? And I remember saying like, I'm gonna break up with him on Monday because by Friday I need to be out, because I know for a fact that I just broke up with my boyfriend. If I get at least 4 girls to go out with me with the whole, I just broke up with my girlfriend, I know that my boyfriend, like if I know that if I would go out there and say that, and I'll get 4 girls to go with me, I know that would spread like wildfire and I would get approached. Oh, she just broke up with him. You know, I knew that I would get approached. So yeah, like I remember saying like that's game, right? Yeah, I'm so glad. Yeah, men do like women who like sports, like, because then again, it makes them feel like they don't have to make a choice, right? Like, oh man, she's not gonna like it. The fact that I'm spending the amount of time or the money on it. If a woman likes sports too, that's very attractive. So thank you for adding that comment, dark skinned gentlewoman. That was a really great comment. Thank you for that. Because okay. Oh, okay. Morbid Dom, that's really good. That's really good advice. I think more Black women are hesitant about going out because there is a lot of pressure to be perfect woman in the Black community, or else no man would want you. Right? So kind of putting that, I hate using these words, Blackistan mindset on the whole world, when the reality is there's a lot of men who like damsel in distress. Right? So yeah, I like that you added that. I'm going to leave that comment up because I think you have a good point. So yeah, that maybe Black women are thinking that they have to be perfect. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to leave that comment up for a minute, but yeah. So I just definitely think that maybe we should just start meeting people and going out, because sometimes it's less low stakes. Sometimes it's just about like getting approached and starting conversations. And yeah, getting approached and just starting conversations. So maybe we shouldn't put so much pressure on it, and just go out, even though we know we have work to do, right? Just go out, work it while doing your work. I remember I made a video about that a couple months ago, right? Like just while you're in school, while you're trying to lose weight, or while you're getting your money together, just go out and just meet people. No, and you don't have to put a lot of pressure on it. And just finding out that, hey, sometimes when you're open about what it is you're going through, some people might be like, hey, I'm going through the same thing. And you guys could be partners and support each other in it. And also too, if this pressure to be super quote unquote feminine, if you like sports or you like work, there are men who find that attractive. So, like, I don't think I'd have a lot of currency in some of these places, like where you have to be super girly. Cause I know my parents tried. They tried. At least my mom did. She did with the cotillions and the etiquette classes and always going to church. At least one day a week, I had to wear a dress and I had to know how to sit, only to end up marrying a guy who likes the fact that I yell at the TV when people are pitching crazy. Because I was yelling at the TV yesterday watching the Mets play the Toronto Blue Jays. I was yelling at the TV. He thinks that's attractive. That's not ladylike, but he finds it attractive. And we've been together close to 2 decades. So, I mean, maybe it works out right. Maybe it just worked out. And, there are some men who just, who find different things attractive. So I just don't think that there's any absolutes in life, but still, you can still have standards. And so anyway, just to give you another update, my friend on our vacation, my friend Kenya, the one who I started helping with online dating, who I started making the online dating videos about, and all the tips, she has a boyfriend now. Yeah, she's got a boyfriend. And the thing about it is, she was like, I don't know if we're like that ready to go on vacation together. Because a couple of us were going to all go on vacation together, right? We were going to get our RVs and go on vacation. And she's like, I don't know if I think my husband likes the boyfriend more than Kenya do. so anyway, this is how it started. Kenya introduces us to the guy. His name's Craig. So they're very, very cute. They met because all their kids play Pop Warner. Craig has 3 kids. Kenya has 1. So they met at like Pop Warner, and because like the single parents kind of started working together so that if parents have like issues, they can sort of help each other get their kids to practices, whatever. So Craig's 3 kids and Kenya, and now all of a sudden, now they're a couple, right? So he's super hands-on, dad. He works for the fire department out in the burbs. Well, Kenya lives in the burbs, so but way out in the burbs. So we just, so they're finding out a couple, and they were kind of talking about football camp, like. And Kenya's like, yeah, these tournaments and these football camps are so expensive, and then you got to get a hotel. And he's like, oh, babe, we're not going to stay in the hotel. We're going to be in the fifth wheel. So if you guys don't know what a fifth wheel is like a big travel trailer, right? I'll show you guys a picture of it. So we got to be in the fifth wheel. And my husband's like, you got a fifth wheel? And then, okay, this is a picture of it. Let me share my screen. But anyway, so like, you got a fifth wheel? And my husband's like, he's like, yeah. And my husband's like, how are you towing it? And he's like, oh, I got my other truck is a dually. And my husband's like, you got a dually? So then Craig is like, Craig is like, oh, well, yeah, I'll bring it by. You guys can check it out. So it's like, all right, here, this is a picture of a fifth wheel. Okay, so it's like a really big RV travel trailer, right? So you have to have a big truck to tow it. So Craig has one of these, right? And we just have like a travel trailer that we put on the back of our truck. And so Craig has a fifth wheel and a big, huge dually truck. So a dually is like a truck that has 2 wheels on the axle. Oh, here's my phone again. Hold on. Man, I'm popular today. So anyway, he's like, no, babe, we're not going to be in a hotel for the football camp. We're going to be in the fifth wheel. And let me tell you something. This travel trailer is nicer than like any apartment I've ever lived in. And it's about the same size. It's huge. So, my husband is like loving this dude because he drives big trucks. He tows. He's like in the fire department. So he's like a man's man, So it's like, I don't know. So then they come on vacation with us to the RV resort, and oh my gosh, he's so sweet. He calls Kenya Sugar, because he's like real old Southern gentleman, East Texas guy. Like, yeah, I love you, I love your potato salad, Sugar, or can you get this for me, Sugar? And like, he's so sweet. I really like him. But I think my husband likes him more than Kenya do. Because I don't know, like when he bought his truck by, I'm like, Craig, how do you parallel park that truck? They live like way in the burbs. So, maybe it's like a little bit more, he probably don't have as many parking issues as we would have. But yeah, it's like this huge truck. And, and it's like, it's huge. This truck is huge. I'm going to show you a picture, right? But anyway, and my husband's like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is a Dodge Ram 3500 dually, right? And it has 2 wheels on the back axle. Man, my husband was like, oh my God, look at this truck. We got to get one. And I'm like, no, we don't. Like, no, we don't. Like, yeah. So anyway, it was just like, I guess like maybe it's a man thing because men like big trucks and big RVs, and if a man is into that type of thing, like they like fixing trucks and looking at trucks, and like when Craig bought the dually buy, when he was over here, like my husband got his head under the hood, and my neighbor who comes across the street, he got his head under the hood. Okay, so you like trucks too, Corey. Thank you very much. Thank you for adding that. Yeah. I don't. It's a man thing. It's a man thing, I guess. And they're all talking about the wheelbase and gross towing weight. What I don't know. And my husband was just like, and so then Craig says he has like a water softener in his RV, and then he could show my husband how to fix the put a water softener in our RV. And so they made like a project out of it. Like they made like a play date and went to Harbor Freight, and yeah, Ford guys. Yeah, that's a thing. Like that's a thing. Like Ford is like a thing. Like the Ford guys will say bad stuff about Chevy guys and Dodge guys. Like it's true. It's true. But yeah, I don't know what it is. It's a Texas thing. Yeah. Okay. So you don't like truck guys, but I just know that's a thing. Like trucks are a thing, and like men are so fascinated with these trucks. Like my husband, you work in IT. Like I get it because Craig is a firefighter, and a lot of firefighters have side hustles. So he paints houses as like a side hustle. So I see why he needs that. But anyway, I just thought that was funny. Like my husband, I feel like likes Kenya's boyfriend more than Kenya might like Kenya's boyfriend because he's just a manly man. Okay. Yeah, you know what? I just know it. Ford. Yeah, my husband's a Ford guy, but for some reason he had his head all up under this truck. He really did. And I always said, like, if we ever like get married and renew our vows again, like if we ever have like a big wedding, our bridal registry is going to be at Ace Hardware. Because my husband, yeah, I told you guys about that for our anniversary. He wanted an impact wrench because he thought that was romantic. Impact wrenches are romantic. Yeah, but I mean, I think that, Cam Wee is right. Boys and their toys. That's very true, Atkins, because I think that these trucks are like over $70,000 a piece, and you have to buy them, and because you cannot lease them. So I remember my husband saying that to my older sister when we went to the car show, because she was talking about, oh, look at the Maseratis, look at the BMW. And she goes, no, my husband was like, all those guys are leasing, but all the guys with the HD trucks, they have to buy them outright because they don't let you lease them because a lot of people put them through wear and tear. So yeah, you're right. You're very, very right. So a lot of these guys with big trucks do make very good money. And Craig makes pretty good money. I mean, he's a senior level in the fire department, and he also has like a side hustle painting houses. So yeah. This is a good observation. I see that a lot too in Texas, and it's usually because a lot of Latino men will buy trucks, and that includes my spouse, because if anything ever happens, they know they can use that truck to make money. Right? So like if my husband would like lose his job, he knows that he can throw a lawnmower in the back and then use it to cut grass. Like, and that's their mindset. A lot of them have that mindset, like maybe because they're coming from places of scarcity, that they're always trying to protect themselves from scarcity. Yeah, right. I've seen that, the Sierras, the GMC Sierra, the HD Sierras are that way. But I just think that too, like some Latino men will buy these trucks, and also too, they last a really long time. So you can put 250, 300,000 miles on some of these trucks, and then you can hand them down to a daughter or to a son. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely see what you're saying, Edgelord Coco, but that's the mindset behind it. Cause I mean, when I talk to my spouse about it, that's basically it. And also too, I think too, and that culture, self-sufficiency is very important. Like self-sufficiency is extremely important. Like, I mean, I remember I was showing my husband some of Pink Pill, Crystal Karazin's content, and he was scrolling through it like, yeah, she has chickens, something like that. That's what he got from her content, that she has chickens, because he wants chickens and he don't even eat eggs, but he just wants like the self-sufficiency, especially after everything that's happened with the food shortages and things like that. He's always been supportive of me gardening, but yeah, that self-sufficiency is kind of, and again, I think it comes from, maybe coming from scarcity. You're always thinking about creating a safety net for your family. So yeah, I agree. What do I think about baseball players? Personally, I think baseball players are the most attractive of all of the athletes. Because number one, they have like risk averse behavior because it's less injury. And a guy who has risk adverse behavior usually tend to be more responsible, right? Number two, a lot of them have type C personalities. Type C, where they care about precision, they care about routine, they care about, like pattern, creating successful patterns. So I think that baseball players have a lot of baseball players, a lot of fall into that category. A lot of them too, also because they like pattern, they like routine. That's why you see so many of your top baseball players are still married to or with their high school sweetheart. CC Sabathia with his high school sweetheart. Mookie Betts still with his middle school sweetheart. And Mookie Betts is a black guy, is a black man, okay? CC Sabathia also too, black man. High school, they buried their high school and middle school sweethearts. Bryce Harper with his high school sweetheart. Mike Trout with his high school sweetheart. Jock Peterson, high school sweetheart. So they have like a loyalty thing because pattern and routine is very important to them. Also, they have to have Ken and Valerie Griffey, been together 40 years. So yeah, baseball players to me are the most attractive of the athletes. They like pattern. Francisco Lindor, high school sweetheart with his high school sweetheart. So a lot of these guys just have, risk averse behavior because of that. And I don't know, I'll tell you guys that story another day about like why I think that they're most attractive, but that's a whole nother story. But so there is a level of loyalty. You're right. There's a level of loyalty. Like if you, like one of the guys I always talk about, Capital Gains by Chip and Joanna Gaines, like they've really changed the entire economy of Waco, Texas, those two. And one of the ways he did it was with all of the guys he went to Baylor with who were on his baseball team. So all of those real estate agents, all of those people who are in mortgage lending, all those city planners, all those people that are in his circle, he basically played baseball with since Little League in that Central Texas area. So yeah, I mean, if you guys are in college right now and there's a college baseball team, definitely volunteer to write for the school paper and cover their stories, because not just to meet the players, but also to meet the alumni, because that's a very tight-knit group. They stay tight. Like my husband is still tight with guys he played Little League with. My daughter is still tight with people she played Little League with, because it just breeds that type of environment. And yeah, it just breeds a more collaborative environment. And so, yeah, I definitely think that baseball players are the most attractive. Also, 1 in 6 baseball MLB viewers are six-figure earners, and most of them watch because they've played. It's not a cheap sport. So again, you're more likely to get a guy who is a legacy, whose dad taught him to play, whose grandfather or uncle taught him to play. Like a lot of the guys right now who are playing baseball, like I told you, all the juniors, right? And then also too, you see Yastrzemski, his uncle was like in the Hall of Fame. Like Tom Brady's niece, Maya Brady, also is a niece of a Major League Baseball player. Like these guys, I'm telling you, like I feel like there's like a level of like a higher level of loyalty. Like there are now NFL players who are trying to get their sons to play baseball because they understand the opportunity that their kids get in this sport. And it has so much um, longevity. And like you said, there's jerks in every sport. There's jerks in there's doctors who are jerks. There are baseball players who are jerks. There are jerks who sell cars for a living. There are all kinds of jerks. I like playing golf. I don't. Like, my husband will go and I will like root for him. He can drive, but he can't, like, he has no short game. But I will definitely support him, but I don't like that sport. But a girlfriend of mine told me I should. Cause she'd be rooting for her husband. He'd be like, "Oh, baby, you like a black Phil Mickelson. You're so good at this sport." And she just really always gasses his head up, and then she gets like a nice purse. So she taught me that a long time ago. When we were like newlyweds, she was always like, "Yeah, let your husband play golf, gas his head up, and that's how you get a nice bag." That was her marriage advice to me. Like, gas his head up a lot. Like, if my husband goes fishing, it's the same thing. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, baby, look at what you caught. I'm gonna take pictures. I'm gonna put on my Facebook." Like, if you like play that up, and then you end up getting like jewelry. Yeah. So, yeah. I really do support like black women doing any sport that. Yeah, art of air. Yeah, it helps. It helps. I mean, I think even Afrocentric Woman was talking about it. But anyway, I've got to get back to doing all these chores, and I got to pick my daughter up from work. But I just wanted to give you guys an update, and I'll be posting some links in the chat of some really good content creators that I've been listening to when I was on vacation. And just to remember, watch out for these bottom bracket boys. Watch out for these bottom bracket boys. Okay? You guys have a good day. Thank you.